All right. Hello and welcome back to another Fireside Chat with Waytat. Um, this is the more chilled out version of my Waytat episodes, where I just take a half hour to unscripted talk about a thing. I think that's also as close as you're going to get to an intro on this show because every time I started up, that's when I started thinking like, oh, I should probably do an intro for these. Um, but yeah, so let's just get into spinning up the topic. I'm hoping I get one that I can talk about for half an hour. Also, if you're wondering why like stuff didn't work out um for last week, with posting something like basically posting something to celebrate the 1 year. It's because, ironically, considering that my next episodes are about mental health stuff, um, it's uh, I was I was basically having a bit of a depressive episode, so uh, I just could not, for the life of me, do anything. And also, for whatever reason, they decided all of last week at work that we were going to get at least half an hour of overtime. And because I record and like do all my stuff and research before work, I didn't really have a chance to do anything. Um, so I didn't even really get to the planning phase. Um, Regardless, it still means a lot that I've been able to make it to 1 year. Uh, I am honestly kind of surprised I've been able to stick with it for so long. Um, it's something I really enjoy doing, and hopefully will continue to grow over time. I do need to put out some ads. I'm not sure what exactly to do that, like how to design that, but I think yeah, I, I I have some ideas that are rattling around in my brain, but we'll not talk about that. The wheel has stopped spinning by a lot now. And it is talk about a spooky experience. That was me pulling up. I have a whole thing of dumb and also creepy experiences that I've had in my life. Um, I will just come right out and say it. I have had a lot of creepy experiences. Most of them aren't very long, so I'm probably going to share a couple in this. Um, but the the town that I live feels very like spiritually active. Like there's a lot of weird shit that happens all around the same time. Um, every year, so like there's some spooky stuff going on. And then on top of that, I also live in Oregon, which in and of itself, Oregon has some spookiness about it at times. I also have a history of working late, so there's also some creepiness and spookiness there, which does actually kind of bring me to the first thing. This one actually is one of the ones that wasn't written down. So, um, it's a story about like this, I guess, like apparition um called White T-shirt guy, like that I started calling White T-shirt guy, because basically, my first job, I was working pretty late. Um, Actually, my first couple jobs, I worked late shifts. Um, and the problem with working shifts that late, um, is that obviously, like, you don't get a whole lot of sleep otherwise. Um, but on top of that, they were very stressful jobs. One of them, I was a DSP. I've also worked in packing and shipping for companies like Amazon, so it was not enjoyable. I was under a lot of stress trying to do classes. I was given way too much responsibility for an 18-year-old with like the DSP stuff. Um, and so there were quite a few times on my way home from work I'd have an apparition of a dude wearing like baggy blue jeans with a very long white t-shirt on, and he was always a bald dude. And I think most of the time he looked Hispanic or like red Hispanic to me, um, which is kind of like that combination of things is kind of weird because like those are all like I don't know, like I don't know what my brain was pulling from to conjure that image because I don't think it was a ghost. I think this is just more like a creepy experience of like, oh shit, I'm going nuts because I'm seeing stuff. Um, but the two most notable times I saw him, I almost got into a car accident both times because the first time that I saw, like the first time that I almost got into an accident when I saw him, there's a road heading in my town that's a very sharp turn, and he was standing at the base of that turn, right next to a mailbox, uh, which the it was one of those like green like newspaper mailboxes like newspaper companies have put in. So it wasn't like I was mistaking a you know a mailbox for a person. But yeah, it scared the shit out of me, and I almost crashed off the side of the road because it just looked like there was like a dude standing at the at the dip of the intersection or like the dip of the turn, um, just hanging out. Um, I saw him like a few other times after that, just like randomly in like places that it wouldn't really make sense for him to be at. Um, like at intersections, I'd see like on occasion, like it was usually when I was making a turn or going pretty fast. Um, Sometimes I'd be driving on the highway and I'd see him like start walking onto the road, just stuff like that. And then the second time that really sticks out to me was a time that I was like coming home and I had just turned onto my street, like I just turned right. And as soon as I turned right, I saw white t-shirt guy running down my street, um, like directly into my hood, and like right before he impact, I saw the shirt like fly upwards, not like not like his body. Like I just saw like the shape of the shirt fly upwards, and he was vanished. Um, and I was already kind of close to quitting one of those jobs, and so I was like, okay, um, I'm not gonna let this keep happening anymore. So I quit that job and just decided to focus on classwork. Um, so I mean that's one of my scary experiences. I I have another one. And so it it involves someone that I've talked about on a previous episode. Someone who I am close to that is also a content creator. Um, and they talked about like there was a day where everything was just kind of feeling off and weird like the whole day, and then I had my own kind of creepy experience. Like I think it was that I think it was that I saw someone in my yard, like just pop up in the middle of my yard and like violently grab at the tree in my yard. And by the time that I turned back to look, they were gone. Um, Apparently, at the same time that that was happening across town, they were having a vision of staring into their bathroom sink while it filled up with blood. And then they heard a voice from the bathtub telling them to look at them. And they turned and looked and had a vivid hallucination of them uh, basically flying forward and cracking their head on the side of the tub and filling the bathtub with blood, which is terrifying. Um, and they snapped out of it and they were staring into the mirror the whole time, which that's fun. Uh, that's also what I mean by the place that I live is spooky. Is stuff like that happens sometimes. Uh, and it's especially great when you know all the Wicca people in town, like all the Wicca people and all like all the Satanists, like the actual Satanists in town, not like the cult movie Satanists. Like it's actually creepy when you know all those kind of like spiritualist people in town, and all of them are like, "Oh yeah, today's an off day. Like there's some crazy shit happening today," and you've been feeling it all day. Like it makes it a lot worse. Um, yeah. And then so one of the other stories I wanted to share was actually one that I have written down. That I decided to title "Let Me In." So um actually when was this edited? Um, see the version history. Yep, on September 7th, 2021. So quite a while now. Quite a while ago now. When I first started to get into like spiritualism and witchcraft, one of the things I decided to do on advice of a friend was set up wards in my room. After having like a lot of experiences with some night terrors and like nightmares and like bad dreams like that. Um, they suggested like if I'm going to get into spiritual stuff, I need to have my space consecrated. So I didn't use any like purified instruments or like anything blessed or like cleansed. Um, Instead, I took like this little baggie of crystals I have been the center point of some problems as well. And a Mjolnir, leather Mjolnir, that was made by Wiccan, which is cool. I took those and wore like some rings that I've used before for like witchy stuff. Um, and I started making like the bubble and expanded the bubble out and like basically expanded it through my room like like the kind of like self blessing like occulty witchy stuff. Um and I kept holding that bubble um until like I started to feel sleepy, which actually happened really quick. And I think the part that I fucked up on was I asked anything benign to help me and to maintain the wards. And while at first I felt pretty safe, very quickly I realized I was not because I fell asleep And then, well, I didn't fall asleep quite yet. I closed my eyes, and there was like a stop motion, um, like a stop motion, almost like video of a woman's face with like feline eyes, which has also been a motif that's popped up for me. Um, Surrounded by branches and tentacles, and she was demanding to be let in. Um, and I've had some I've had some like encounters with things that might have been like a nocturnal attacker. So I kind of just figured like, okay, I've pissed something off. Just don't 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 interact with it. Just let it be pissy, and then it'll go somewhere else. So I decided like, all right, I'll just turn off my lights and go to bed, which is not how I normally react to things like this. Um, so, but then from that point on, the whole night, if I shut my eyes without falling asleep, I would see the branches and tentacles like reaching from the sides of my vision, and the whole night I had dreams of like voices begging me to let them in, and like seeing the seeing like the silhouette of the woman would let me, at risk of attracting a demon again. Whew, man. Um, I think the context was different, she could do terrible things to me. But like it was just terrifying of like her like standing at like the middle distance and then just like leaning very close and like getting her hand like almost to my eyes and just like screaming for me to let her in. And I just felt like unnerved but not scared, which was weird. And kind of the scary thing and the problem is that I don't remember if I gave in or not, because like I just remember like my memory getting blurry and then like a claw like scratching against like basically like the glass, and then I woke up and it was still dark out. So I don't know if I let something in or not, and I'm going to be honest, that was years ago. I still haven't checked. I'm not going to check. That cuz that scares the shit out of me. Um yeah, whew, yeah. That was a bad one. That was like a bad time for me. Um let's see. Uh Oh, there was also like a very um like weird thing that happened that like was shared with me and like a small group of people. It's actually probably been a few of those. Um so uh there was a night where there's a intersection that I drive on a lot, where cars don't have to stop two two of the four directions. And I came up to this intersection. It's kind of known for being dangerous. Like a lot of people try to be careful on it, if they're local at least. Um, but as I came up to the stop sign and like stopped at it, there were three other cars just all stopped, which like that's weird to happen in the middle of the night, because this was I think at like 1 or 2 in the morning. So it's weird for that to happen in the middle of the night already. Um, but it wasn't like anything supernatural. Um, I guess it was also kind of weird that like two of them were stopped where you don't have to. I don't know what they were doing, but yeah, as I pulled up and stopped, the whole intersection just suddenly became daytime. Uh like but with like no extra noise or anything. Like there was no helicopter above us, which is kind of what I thought at first. There wasn't like a spotlight. Um like you could see the delineation mark between just like bright noontime day and like 1 in the morning. There were no other headlights or cars, and it stayed like that for a good like 10 to 15 seconds, and then just went back to nighttime. And one of the guys at the intersection, like I heard him like basically roll down his window and like shout out like, excuse me, what the fuck was that?" Um, and two of the cars just like they literally took a U-turn, like they just U-turned and left. Um, and yeah, like I'm sure someone is gonna think like, oh, that was the G-men. Like those that was the G-men testing their their equipment. But for some reason I was like, okay, well, yeah, that was weird. Anyways, I'm gonna go home now. I just kept driving and got home. Um, so yeah, I mean that was another one. Yeah, my local area tends to have some like weird stuff going on with it. So like my old car used to kind of be the ghost taxi. Um, so basically there's been some times in my life where I'd be driving home or like going to a friend's house or something where it would feel like someone would enter into my car. Um, and it's actually the same intersection. The same intersection is when stuff like hops into your car. Um, yeah, most commonly what'll happen is like there'll be like a random patch of fog, or just like you'll just feel like someone's in your back seat. Um, and like I didn't ever feel scared, but it was like a thing of just like having like it happened so often that I had this speech of like, oh, whoever is back there, I don't mind giving you a ride. Just know, don't scare me, don't hurt my vehicle, don't be weird. Because I know people that can get rid of you if you mess with me. Um, so and the weird thing is that it worked. I which which is crazy. That should not have worked. Um, but yeah, I've had a few of them. Some of them were scarier than others. There's two that stick out, and I have like actually written down. Um, the one that I actually said was worse, which I don't think it was worse. Um, was I had something sit next to me in the front seat. So I was driving home, I think from work again. I was listening to actually like Eminem's Kamikaze album, and the because my old car, like the radio for some reason was very attached to the suspension. I hit a pothole. Um, no, wait, did I hit a pothole? I don't remember if I hit a pothole or not, but like it would react to like hitting potholes and stuff. But the CD skipped just kind of out of nowhere, and just said hi in like a very pleasant tone. Which, if you know that album, I don't think he says hi or hello one time on the entire album, and he didn't like Eminem. As much as I like his music, he does not. He very rarely says something pleasantly. So like it was a bit scary, but I responded. It was like hi, and as soon as I did, my car got extremely cold. And I gave my speech, ride was silent, and then a truck passed the opposite direction with LED headlights, and my passenger seat stayed dark. So there was something in my passenger seat blocking light, which was not fun to know that, like, okay, this is absolutely happening. Um, and I just passed like this random spot in town. As soon as I did, thing left. Um, and my car was way too hot because I had the heater up all the way and did not change the temperature at all. Um, and then the other time, uh, I was driving a friend home from a D&D game. And as we got onto the road, um, we both felt we both fell silent immediately, and we looked at each other and were like, "There's someone in the back seat. Like there's someone in the back seat right now." And as soon as we drove past like this little college, or like I don't know if it's actually a college anymore. I think it's just like a little study thing. Um, as we drove past it, we hit this patch of fog and immediately silent, like inside, outside, car silent. And we started seeing like very clear, I would call them agonized faces on like trees and like in the grass and stuff as we passed by. Uh, for nearly the entire way to his house. Um, and while we were driving, at some point I like went to look up into the rearview mirror to like look behind me, and I just felt like an immediate feeling of like, don't, do not do that. You don't know what you're messing with. Don't look. So I just decided like, okay, well, I'm gonna drive. I guess this thing's gonna get out when it needs to get out. And then it was again totally silent, no noise inside, outside the car until I was a block away from home on the way back, and I just felt something like a presence, like kind of like expand or roll forward from the back seat into the front seat, and then it was gone, and all the noise came back. Uh, so yeah, I mean that was I think that one was the worst one. I think I really hope I didn't like. I hope what happened. I hope what didn't happen was that I just like took a demon to someone's house by accident. Like I facilitated some kind of horrific like cosmic crime. Um. Oh man, that'd be just my luck. Um. But yeah, that was my that was some of my scary experiences. So anyway, make sure to listen to the shows that are not about scary things. Also, this one was a little bit different. It was also a lot easier for me to do. So let me know if you like me talking about scary stuff, and I can get back to doing some more of those. Um, yeah, thank you for listening and sticking with it. Um, have a good one. Good night.